Hello, world. Patricia O'Connor and Frida Reba Darcy tonight on the Bonsai Balcony Saturday Night Live. Yes, you are getting something, little Frida. We are looking at my Trident maple. This is a tree that I've had since the early going. It has kind of an interesting. It has an interesting backstory, and this is my first air layer. I've grafted stuff before, but never trees. And as far as air layers are concerned, yeah, I think this is my first one. I've been kind of watching different things on how to do it for a couple of years now. Not really. I'm not really spooked by the process. I think our odds of this, our odds of success on this, are going to be pretty good. There are other things about wood carving and horticulture that I wouldn't recommend that you start on your living bonsai material, But this isn't one of those things. This is something that I think we should be able. This should be in our wheelhouse. We should be able to do this okay. And what I want to do is, well, first of all, just a little bring that around and see. We've got some really good pluses and minuses, I believe, with this tree. And I think the girth, the thickness, and where it gets wide here, I think that's a plus. I don't necessarily think the root base is a plus. Hi Lee, how are you? I don't think the way that the roots are laid out, they don't really have a nice radial pattern to them. Uh, a third of what's going on back here is this guy, and that's not the most flattering root in the world either. And also, when I got the tree, it had a kind of a broad canopy, and I didn't know a lot about maples, so I didn't know to get underneath here and see what the maple that I was looking at, looked like without all the foliage. The following winter, I would see what that looked like, and I could see that I had not bought a bill of goods. I bought the nice looking tree I wanted. But when it comes to maples, you tend to regard them in how well their foliage is, how well that's ramified. Whether or not whether you've got this beautiful foliage that's been manicured right or been treated right, and there's all these little idiosyncrasies. Some people defoliate their maples. Some people cut every pick a number leaf so that more light will get in to smaller branches. Some people will take every leaf and cut it in half to achieve it. I mean, there are all kind of nuances to maples that I'm aware of. I'm just over there in Pineville still. But having said that, I really still love this tree. It has a really nice thick trunk. And before I got used to looking at dimensions and stuff, I'm not really sure whether or not it took on this extra length on my watch, or whether or not it just had a canopy out here to where that didn't look so crazy at the time. And maybe I just didn't know to really look and think about that. But what I would like to do with this tree is I would like to shorten this tree up somewhat. I'd like to shorten it this way, and I might even like to take those three branches that we have. There's a segment that's about this big, and then there's another segment above that about that big. And I would consider that at two to take off that last segment on the top as well, and let that middle segment be our new top. But what we're going to do tonight is we are going to do an air layer in here somewhere. Here somewhere. Yeah, I'm just looking at camera and doing it. I'm not really looking at the tree. From y'all's perspective, we're going to do an air layer. We're going to do a cut from here the hip, and then peel the bark back, and then we're going to apply some rooting hormone, and then we're going to go on that with some. Then I'm going to tie up a plastic baggie that I have standing by. Then we're going to drag out the peat moss that I have sitting in a bowl and start packing that puppy full of that peat moss. And then once we have that nice and packed and tight and stuff, then I'm going to go back over that with some shrink wrap because I want all of that to stay nice and tight and closed up and keep all the moisture in there and do all those neat little tricks and stuff. And that's pretty much in a nutshell what this is going to curtail. What I have standing by is a little bit of dog treats. Now, no more dog treats; those have been dispensed. I have a an acquisition that I bought at the end of the summer last year. I have a grafting knife, and I have a grafting knife standing by that I'm not going to use unless I run into some kind of trouble. But I would probably go with my box knife if I had the first hint of trouble. We also have wire cutters. We also have pliers. We also have a carpenter's pencil. That'll make sense in a minute. I have a Sharpie in case the carpenter's pencil proves inadequate, but I don't think I want to go putting Sharpie marks on anything because I don't want to have to look at it a year from now. I have a pair of scissors. I have a toothbrush. I have my hemp brush. I have a couple of shards of bamboo hanging out. I have a little wasabi dish that is currently full of Clonex. I ordered Clonex because I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it from our store. I have a couple of links of aluminum wire standing by, and I think if I haven't already said it, I have some shrink wrap, and I have a plastic bag that's clear that I've cut long ways and cut the bottom out of. So it's basically now a strip of clear plastic. To me, part of the fun in this will be doing this with a clear plastic bag, so I'll be able to see in real time what's going on root wise. It is April 13th, which these guys, as you can see, have started are pretty well leafed out. There's a lot of energy going there. Where we're going to do this should be a place where all the action is. Because there's these three trunks going on. So we know there's going to be a lot of energy exchange going on right around here in this big intersection. And that's right there where I intend to do. I'd like to see our roots. I think I'd like to see our roots come out right here. So we should do this. Go just underneath there. And we should do this right in here. This will be our top mark. And by top mark, we're going to cut this line all the way around the tree. Also, I want to take that curve up. Also, this gives us a couple of opportunities to do things. One, this will allow us to shorten the tree this way. Two, this will allow us later, if we still choose to shorten the tree this way. Three, this will allow for more radial root growth that we can be in charge of as all of this, if we hit it right, we'll have a multitude of roots coming out all the way around. And that will be, that is something that with a little bit of management, we can be impressive. We can balls in our court at that point. So that's kind of the reason why we're doing this. And also, while we're doing this, down here needs to come up with something. There is a way around that, but I'm not really set up for it. At some point, when this gets ready to go, if there's nothing down here, I'll cut it loose, and then I'll cap it off. And then if it doesn't put anything out, free pot. Uh, this tree is, I got this tree on Craigslist. When I first got into bonsai, I looked at my ability to find things when I was looking for restoration parts and stuff, and I used every avenue at my disposal. I would just type in the target into everything I could possibly think of that might possibly bring a result, and I would look down every lead. And I just kind of put a little bit of that to the test when I didn't know where to get bonsai trees at first. Since then, I've become aware of many, many, many good and knowledgeable people who have invested in their time and their energy in bonsai, and it's probably a good idea to see to spend money their way. You know what you're getting, you know who did it, all that stuff. And this was a tree I found. Whereas this was a tree I found on Craigslist. The woman was very nice. Um, Pretty sure I probably paid too much. Don't know. Yeah, I probably paid too much. But at the same time, it's okay. I liked the tree I bought. I don't know that I'm going to be able to see this line very well. I liked the tree that I bought, so that is what's important at the end of the day. I think. Also, where's my where are you at? Doing a little rotate here. Oh, and I also have more than one pair of scissors standing by. I bet that guy is. I have my grafting knife up here somewhere. I've buried it in. Oh, here it is. Buried it in all the supplies I've got standing by. I So yeah, this is going. It's I think it's a paring knife or something. Haven't used it. This will be its first time. This will be its first time. I also have a knife for that I got from my bonsai tool person, and it is a much simpler tool, but it's to me it's like a holy relic. I I'll break it out kind of like when I'm worthy, kind of a thing. I'll break it out when I'm trying to graft Japanese black pine to my ponderosas and stuff, and when I really upped my game, I'll go with that. In the meantime, for doing stuff like this, for cutting a line and then trying to fill in the bar, we'll probably be okay. I'm kind of debating. Golly, all right, we're gonna do this. Do I have something else besides this Sharpie? No. All right, I can do this stuff. Hello there, Pulgar Bonsai. I'm going to use just a little wing nut idea. I'm going to use this piece of plastic wrap. There's a little sprout right there. Tree, you need to hang on to that. You need to make sure that does okay. That's probably the best thing you've done all year, Tree. I'm just saying. All right, where's our first mark? There's our first mark. I'm going to use this as tape, and that way I can draw on this, and I won't be putting a Sharpie mark. I won't be putting a Sharpie mark on this tree, which I don't really want to do. That right in there is going to be our first line. Okay. Okay. I'd like my roots to come out right in here, so we're going to look at this. as our line. I think I can cut through. I think I can cut through that easy enough. And the also here's a fourth thing we can eliminate. I mean, it's not like I'm set out to eliminate this, but now uh, not only do we get to we get to work on the future root structure of this tree. Not only do we get to have influence over how long this tree is, it's already got a shootout right here. I really want to. I should maybe put a cup over that and tape it down to make sure I don't do anything to hurt that. But that's exactly what it needs to do is put out something right there at what's going to be its new top sometime in the not too distant future. So that's going to be our first top cut. Our second cut is going to be in here, and I'm not going to add any more plastic to this to make this mark any easier. I'm just going to mark the plastic that's here in place, and I will look at this line that I will have started because it's going halfway around, and then I will look at the top line, and I think I'll be able to do that without. I think I'll be able to finish that line without losing my place. Okay, so the idea here is to take this knife and make a good cut all the way around the tree, top and bottom, and then we will go down here and start attaching our plastic bag with a piece of aluminum wire. At first, I've got a couple of lengths of aluminum wire cut standing by. I'll just put it on there, and then we'll billow that piece of plastic out, and I'll start stuffing that. I'll start stuffing that full of peat moss that I've been soaking. Okay. And the tree being on a lazy Susan is helpful. I'm also kind of going the opposite way than I'm going the opposite way than I wrap this shrink wrap on here, which is not that helpful, but it's cutting it fine. It's not unwrapping it. Okay. I think that's successful. Hey, Mr. Spider, you want to go back up in there? Cool. I got a little spider up in there. We're not doing anything that I think will hurt him. Uh, he was getting rained on. Now he's in the house. Just hang up there in the canopy. We're not going to mess with you. Haven't done it that way last time. Maybe this time we can go this way. No, that was the same way. Oh well. Here we go. So ideally, you also do this in spring. I think is when a lot of people do this. And I was watching tips today from other people that I had seen when I first got into maples. I was watching everything I could watch about maples. And I talk about, in those days, I was watching a lot of Peter Hahn videos too. A lot of his stuff was on my feed. So naturally that came up again. And this time around, I he mentioned something that I'm going to mention to y'all. And somebody's going to write in the comments, "Have you tried that?" And I'm just going to say, "No, I haven't." But it sounds like it would be an obvious advantage. Um, Kind of funny too. Um, Sometimes bonsai people see things that they can use that are cheap, you know, red ties and stuff. That didn't cost me with the weenie skewers, stuff like that. But he was talking about when it came to the plastic bags and all that kind of stuff that he uh, bubble wrap. And why bubble wrap? Well, bubble wrap. I want to see my mark again really well. Golly, Pat. Because bubble wrap, because it has those little air bubbles on it, those trap heat and get hot. So the bubble wrap gets warm on its own, and that is very helpful in the establishment of roots. That will cause them to pick up the pace on those roots a little bit. So I thought I would pass that along. No, I haven't tried it. What you're seeing right here is me experimenting with different means of getting down that first layer, so I can. I should probably make this cut deeper. Getting down that first layer so I can peel this cleanly. What I don't want to do is take off everything in there. Of there's a layer of stuff in there that's very, very, very beneficial. You don't. I see some people rake that off. I don't think that's something I want to do. So I'm experimenting with the best way of me trying to get it started, basically. And I also don't want to cut anything deliberately too deep, but I think I've left myself a little room for improvement there too. I also saw somebody do this with pruners. They took their pruners that were shaped like that, opened them up, and just kind of went around like a banana knife all the way around. Hey, Aztec, how are you doing? Yeah, it just seems like I don't think we're being overly violent though. We have. Oh, that was good. That's exactly how I wanted to see that. We don't have bad intentions here. I think we're gonna be okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm just trying not to cut this tree too deep, but I want to get all of this. I want to get all of this off, and yes. So I think I figured that part out. So far, so good. You'll see, it'll look better as I bring it on around. Grab that blade, Pat. Easy. It's already starting to get a little weedy again. Uh, I guess I should think of the spider if nothing else and keep this neighborhood a little cleaner. Did we not go deep enough in here? Makes it tricky that I've it's not totally even because of these three trunks. We uh, we have a few squirrels around here. I haven't seen them tear up anything. I have seen other people have to deal with a lot of squirrel damage and stuff. So yeah, I see where that would certainly be irritating. We have squirrels at this apartment. We have squirrels. We have cats, of course. We have crows, and we have some. We have a red hawk, and we have ducks. We have some of the fattest ducks you've ever seen, and yeah, yeah. You're supposed to do this cut about the same width as the trunk. So that's the road we're trying to hoe here. Is that a little much? Uh, uh, you want to do a good job, but you don't want to take off, you don't want to take too much off of this. You'll kill too much of the living tissue and all that good stuff. So I'm just trying to run the blade flat. I'll lift up the I'll lift up the bark where I just made that cut, and then as soon as I get it lifted up, I try to flatten out the blade and just keep moving that. So far, so good. And I'm going to go back over it and clean it up some. I believe this tree was originally a Chinese import. I think that by the pot, and I've seen Chinese imports in uh, in pots like this with trees like this. So that's all I base this on. Could totally be wrong. My like I said, my background with this tree started because I typed in bonsai trees onto Craigslist, and then drove about 30 minutes away to look at an Atlas cedar. I wasn't even. I was over after an Atlas cedar, and I went, "Oh, look at that! Look at that thing. We should probably. We should probably try to get that." And then I did. I brought it in. Okay, missed it here, Mr. Pusher. We got a little earlier start tonight, and we've been the last couple of shows were like gearing up around 8. This time we started gearing up around 7:30. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It could go either way. There's always going to be somebody who goes out in the woods behind their house and digs up stuff and puts it in a coffee can and then lists it on Craigslist for $100. But also, there's somebody who shouldn't have a bonsai tree that just inherited it, who has no idea how their relatives ever, did any of this, nor any of their friends. So you see those trees too. Um, and responding to those has you dealing with sometimes totally unprofessional, but at the same time, you might save something that otherwise is, needs a home. So, in the same way that I would look in Craigslist for antique motorcycle part, one of the first things I did was when I didn't know good bonsai gardens and stuff. Now I know people who are good teachers and have good bonsai gardens and sell nice trees. So even if I buy something that is still pre bonsai, it'll be at a state in development where everything up until then will be top notch, and you'll pay for that, but it's not like puppy mill grade stuff. I guess I could be careful what you call puppy mill grade. Yeah, we are about to be done with the potato peeling part of this. Kind of is like that, but not close enough like that for my taste. I've seen better work. I think I've seen better work mostly because going around. Mostly because I've got all these different textures that I'm dealing with. I mean, with the three trunks, we're about done. A little bit of neatening up right here, and I'm gonna call this. I'm gonna call that enough. Okay. Well, that's my oh, wrong camera. Thanks. That's my paring knife. I got this off of some little hardware store supply that made out like it was a million years old. This is an Italian grafting knife, and it has this little wedge on the end of it, and this end is blunt. I thought it was when I bought it. I thought it would be sharp, but I actually am glad it was blunt because I was using it that way, and it doesn't lock. Okay, that turned out to be pretty useful. Now, our next trick. This is the bag. This is a little plastic bag I had that I saw that some equipment had come in, and I cut it in half, so I've still got half of it. standing by in case I need it again. But this guy right here, and what I will do is, and what I'll do is put this plastic bag on here and wrap that up with a zip tie. I mean, not a zip tie, but with a little piece of wire. And then we'll go to town stuffing that up with moss. We'll get that completely full of moss. Where our roots are going to come from will be up here, not here. Um, yeah, right. Some water standing by. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm always looking, I'm always looking for that next. I'm always looking for that next tree. And somebody was looking at my site the other day, and they asked me, if I sold trees. And I said, I'm not really geared for it, but at some point, I will be limited to how much space I have. I'm already starting to run out of space. There's still space there, but it's not all optimal. And if I start filling up those spaces, there sometimes that leads to you just kind of playing musical chairs with trees and stuff. So at some point, it would probably be a good idea to sell something, make a little room, and allocate that cash towards the next something. That just seems like I already know at some point, at some stage, I will do that when it comes to my bald cypress. That's just too valuable real estate right there, um, and it's so what I think we've got a few years to worry about that stuff. So yeah. Answer: no, I'm not really looking. I'm not at this point. I'm not really looking to sell anything. And um, I had I have had some people sell me trees who really, 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 really knew what they were doing, and I've had some deals go where things were dead within a month of showing up at the door. I just don't see me wanting to get in. That's whenever I think about selling something, I think about the pain in the butt of shipping and how uh, it would drive me crazy. It would drive me crazy knowing that if I did it well or if I didn't do it well, or regardless, it could still go bad on its own. And yeah, I think that part of it would probably just deter me from wanting to do that. But now, if there were vending opportunities, that would be something. That might be something different. And it's not like there's not. This little town I live in has a day a month where they go nuts with farmers market type stuff. And and I work at a hardware store that has a nursery. I could probably work out some sort of deal. I don't know. That needs to be where two things. I just wanted to see, but I think that could be a little wetter, and and yeah, I think that could be a little wetter. Hold. Actually, you'll see me go into the kitchen. What? I just don't forget. No, I'm not going to forget the rooting hormone. It's right here. I was just kind of seeing where I was. We're going to do that right in here next. But I was just seeing if this was wet enough. I don't think it is. Also, I turned on the lights back here so that we would have a little backlight. But there's nothing underneath it now. That's just to give a little our source a little light. All right. Now that's gonna pack in there way better. You can leave the rest in there. That's gonna pack in there way better. All right. Go here. Go here. Now, do not do exactly as I do because this would be a great time for rubber gloves. I do not have. I don't currently have the rubber gloves I should be using here. One other thing. One other thing. This is kind of like last shot. I want to clean up this line before I do that also. It's like, yeah, I want to clean up this line. We'll we'll just drag out the box knife and see how it likes that stuff right quick. Oh, that box knife makes it. The damn box knife makes a line I can see pretty well. All the time. I just looked at it, and as I rotated it around, I saw my line got a little uneven, and I'm like, you can fix that. You can fix that right now, or when that thing roots out, you may see that again. And I'm like, I'm not really sure either way, but this is our opportunity to do it right the first time, the first dang time, Patricia. Okay, that is an attempt to make roots come out right here. So that is also where our rooting compound would go. And this would be a great time to bust out the rubber gloves. Don't have any. Wasn't that prepared. Also, this would be a great time to bust out the cheap paintbrush. I could have swore I had a cheap paintbrush. So what we have here is a towel rolled up, and I'm going to apply. This is Clonex. Get it at Amazon quite easily. You can also get it at the hydroponic store. It's kind of a staple. Uh, just going to wet it all down with it. I've seen people get similar results with honey, and it doesn't work as a hormone as much as it just. I need to make sure I keep that towel separate. It doesn't work as a hormone as much as it is an antibacterial and won't allow things to get funky. So they don't break down over problems over pesticide over mildew or anything, and they live long enough. They live long enough then to thrive, and that's kind of how that stuff works. Okay, this is that gross consistency that I was looking for. I'm able to squeeze water out of this, which is also kind of what I wanted to do. All right. I've seen people use, bags that they find, and sometimes when they're printed on, that won't hurt anything, but that can make it hard to see. Or if you're going with black plastic, when I was talking about the bubble wrap earlier, and how much more heat that would generate, right? At the same time, kind of at the same time, that you can't see what's going on in there. So yeah. Also, I kind of see how that could be important. The part about the heat. Right now, we're living in a pretty temperate place. It's cool, and it will probably stay that way for a little while. So I'm not going to get those really high temperatures that super aids this process. You know, something dark in color that would absorb a lot of heat might actually be a good way to go, right? I would do that as the final cover, something that you can throw over there and put on with a clothespin, and then you could and then at a later time, whenever you want to check and see your root growth, it would be something that you could pull off quite easily, and then you would still have a clear bag like that one there, that shows where you are in the game, where you can see what's going on in there. Just a thought. And that's not coming from experience. This is my first time. But I do think, having watched a lot of videos about propagation and cuttings, those guys in the tropics, they have it going on. I mean, they have it going on. They can cut something off that's this big around, hold it out, and it'll just go boink, and then it's got roots on it. Uh, and a lot of times, you see what they're doing. They put them in the dark and increase the heat. Put them in a black plastic bag, put them in a styrofoam cooler with wet sand, and increase the heat, and they'll get olive trees, stumps this big around the root. I've also seen other people do that with olives. Speaking of olives, but it's always, I think that the key to it there in again is the warmer the climate, the easier that goes, the faster everything puts out more stuff. I got enough. I want more, but I have enough, so I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go from the bag to here. I think we still have enough. You guys already know that I don't really have an issue with making. I don't. I'm not one to shy away from a hellacious mess. Y'all seen me do some god awful stuff in here. I had always, when it came down to cloning little things that are like seasonal plants, things that are known to, frankly, clone fairly easy. I had always been using the liquid. I would just cut up all the stems, and then I would hold them underwater and cut them again so that they wouldn't have any air trapped in them. And I would make sure the knife was good and sharp so I wasn't crushing the membrane, but actually cutting through it. And then Last thing you do is after you do that, you put it in a dish of water, and then you start putting those in cubes of some little substrate, whatever you have standing by. And the last thing you do, pick up your jar that's got cloning gel in it, dip it in there, stab it in your substrate, and that's how we did that. The times that I've been doing it lately, I picked up the powder from home. I mean, from work, and I haven't had as good a luck with the powder. It am I blaming the powder? No, it might have been my technique wasn't. Also, I think that there's a lot to be said for technique. I don't know that people who really, really know what they're doing on this part. I don't know for sure that they need the rooting hormone. I mean, it kind of makes more sense in a way. It made more sense when I didn't really realize that the part of the bark I was cutting off wasn't the part where the roots come from. The roots come from above that. And now you're just painting that hormone on the bark. And okay. And now we're going to wrap it up. Oh, okay. We'll see. But how much of that did the hormone play into that? When it came to the perennials that I was talking about, how do you want to do this? When it came to the perennials I was talking about that I used to take part in growing, I saw somebody do 100 trees cuttings with a rooting hormone. I think it was Clonex, and then they did the same amount of cuttings with honey, and they were really on their game. They had a high success rate. So when it came time for them to lift the lid off and do the big reveal, the hormones, the vat that had the 100 trees in it that was done on hormones, they looked good. Yes, the spells only work if you have the hat and the wand. True, Paul. Very true. The ones that they did on the hormones, he had a high success rate. We expect that from him because this is the guy he does YouTube videos about how he can propagate sticks, basically. So that was all well and good. You saw a few dead ones. You saw, probably high 80% with, probably 80% was really green and lush looking. Probably 90%, 90 something percent had roots. So high success rate. And that from that 80 to 100%, there was some dead, there was some yellow, but still had roots. I mean, quite a few of those that weren't as pretty as the rest of them were, if it was the last tree on earth, you'd still you could make a go of it, a good rate of propagation from his tree. And that was all of our peat moss. Here's our little peat moss burger, and that's Clonex, and that's wired at the bottom and shrunk wrap, and that's wired at the top and shrunk wrapped, and I packed all of that peat moss in there really, really tight in there. So yeah, I'm thinking that's our guy. What I want to do now is go back and see. I want to see roots. We want to sit back and wait for the roots to happen. Wait for them, give us the magic, give us the stuff here. And, Mr. Spider, you're more than welcome to hang out in the house tonight. I'll take you back out there on the balcony tomorrow. If you go near the fridge, you could get closed up in the door. Otherwise, you're welcome to whatever you want. Okay, there we go. We're going to be looking at that for an ugly minute. But I think this will make a beautiful tree. I think from here to have some roots come out right there, and then actually about where you see it, we've got two levels of branches on this tree. Whenever all the foliage is gone off of it, you can see a round of foliage here and a round up here. I'd like to chop it right about here, just above this round of foliage. I think that would be a great height. And we have also done our cut to where this tree, that once we separate it, that will not be on a slant anymore. So yeah, like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. That's it for our Saturday Night Live bonsai. We have just air layered my Trident maple. Now we're going to sit back and wait on the results. I've tightly wired everything up here. I've tightly wired everything down here. We've got our hormone there. And thank you guys so much for coming. Enjoy your weekend. Our next drop will be manana. We'll go out. I haven't even looked at the weather forecast. Today was brutal. It was just yuck. And I had things to do. So we did a video and then we went out in it. And so, yeah, tomorrow we'll take it as it comes. Whatever it is, we'll take it head on. And thank you so much for watching. Oh, yes. Yeah.